Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Wednesday, and you are happily tuned in to the I'm Making It Happen radio show with exceptionally yours, Nykole Tyson, on the Reef 103.5 FM. And we are here on Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And on I'm Making It Happen, we discuss how we can make it happen in our minds, bodies, finances, business, and culture, despite the inevitable and not so pleasant challenges. And that's ultimately allow us to realize and shift our mindsets I know that we have the power to improve and maneuver every and any situation that we encounter. And today, drum roll, we have a special guest. Guess who? Me, Nykole Tyson. And I love to connect with you directly because there's always something on my mind I want to share. So I'm going to share today's topic is going to be assuming responsibility and winning more points in life. But before we get into the details, definitely and saying that this is my ball. All right. But I'm going to get into that in a few. Before I do, want to say good morning to everyone in the USVI, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, the British Virgin Islands, St. Kitts and Nevis, and anywhere you are in the Caribbean. I just found out St. Martin. Morning to you. We welcome you anywhere in the Caribbean you tuning in from, and as well as those listening live on rebroadcasting.com from the east to west coast. Good morning to you, and wherever you are in the world, we appreciate you. For those watching live on Facebook, good morning. Please do like and share. You can find me on Facebook live each week at I'm Making It Happen on Facebook. Okay, and then we also do put a shorter version on YouTube. So find me on YouTube as well, and I'm Making It Happen with the same logos. But as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about assuming responsibility and taking the ball. But before I do, I definitely want to take a moment to acknowledge the tragic loss of several young individuals in our community. It's been shocking, I know, for many, as well as myself. I want to know what is going on. I thought to myself, wow, it's been so great. Things has really been going well. And then all these things has been happening. And my thoughts and prayers are with the families, loved ones, friends, and everyone who has been affected by these heartbreaking events. And, it's not just the family, it's everyone surrounding such a small community. And even if you don't know the individuals, the families, it's still affect and impact, because we know that it's a huge pain that's going through many people are feeling. And so thoughts are with all those affected, impacted. And we're going to be talking, I think it's very timely, about the topic that I have today about responsibility, about assuming responsibility, right? And these losses remind me, and I hope everyone, that life is precious, time is not guaranteed, and each of us has a responsibility to the people around us. Sometimes responsibility means different things, right? And I'm going to talk about that. But specifically for this, what I'm addressing today, well, right now, in regards to the losses that have happened last week, tragic losses, is being present for the children. And I feel like I always say, our children, regardless if you have a children or not. There was a poem. I went to eloquence poetry session a month ago. And I did see the organizer, and I acknowledged her for her poem, talking about, even if you don't have children, you're still a mother in some way. You mother your nieces, nephews, people in the community, your neighbors. And so we are always mothering children and fathering children as well. So men, we are also responsible, right? Women are in our community. We are all responsible for the children in our community. And I've mentioned before, like, and I don't know the circumstances, I'm not even going to act like I do, but I'm just saying, just putting yourself in positions that might put you in an imposition, or might put you in an inconvenience. When I see children, and I've done it before, and I say, look, they could cuss me if they want, but I'm going to turn around my car and I'm going to find out why the student is not in school. I see them in a uniform and they're walking somewhere that I think they're not supposed to be. I have no idea. They might have good cause to do what they're doing. But for me, I need to sleep well at night and know that I played my part in the community, and I'll turn around. I've turned around and I see a child, and I'm like, hey, and it may make me late. may make me late. That was 3 M's. Okay. That's why I had a tongue tie. But yeah, it may make me late, but I'm still gonna do it because at the end of the day, you're still gonna get to that meeting. So it just takes a few more minutes. So I turn around my car and I tell, I've done it many times in West Mid Island, and I'll say, "Hey, what are you doing out of school?" That's my first thing. I ain't even saying hi. What are you doing out of school? What's up? Okay. And they might smile and be like, "Oh, I just have to." I said, "Look, I hope you're not skipping." And we'll have a conversation. And usually I think the children are receptive to it. I think most times we think that children aren't, but even if they show some resistance, I do think deep down they appreciate somebody caring for them. Another time, let me see, I was doing a lot of things at YRC, speaking at YRC before COVID. Unfortunately, that paused it temporarily. I'm still trying to go back and do some more speaking things there, but I had an impact there. And there was one child that was there in the YRC and was not listening at all, like kept disrupting the conversation. And I only had an hour of the time. And I told the student, right, the child, the young man, "Look, this is voluntary, right? You can choose to not be here. It's not mandatory." He says, "No, it's not mandatory." I said, "Okay, great. Since it's not mandatory, you can actually excuse yourself from the room because I only have an hour and I'm not going to keep telling you to be quiet. All right. So you can excuse yourself from the class if you don't want to be here, because I don't want anybody to be here that's not wanting to be here, because my time is limited as well. I'm taking my time from something else, and I express that to them. I'm taking my time from something else, other things that I can be doing to be here and share, some life things, life examples, or I can't remember exactly what I said, but something around those lines, right?" And so the boy stayed in the class, in the group, in the YRC, in that little room, but he was mugging me hard, right? OMG. I was kind of intimidated. But I played it off and I kept saying in my head, "What is this student in here for? I don't even know what these children are in for, And so afterwards, he just stayed and he just stared at me with this very serious look the whole time. He didn't say nothing afterwards. And I'm like, "Oh Lord, hope you don't come looking for me afterwards." But the next week I came, I had given them all journals that day too. And I had told them about writing their goals, 3 months, 6 months, a year, and not to focus on what's happening right now, but to plan for the future, because every day still matters and they have a long life, And so he came back the next week, and guess what? Oh, I did ask the individuals that allowed me to join, which is the Rotary of Harbor Rotary. Let me, be a part of their sessions. And I asked them, "Well, what was this young person in for at YRC?" For those who don't know, Youth Rehabilitation Center on St. Croix. And they weren't aware either. So I came back the week after, and that same young man that was disruptive and then was like looking at me mean the whole time, he was the best behaved the next week. You wouldn't even tell it was the same student, same child. And he was telling the other kids, the other people in the room, to behave. It looked like a totally different child. And he participated. And he was the one that wrote down everything in his book. I believe actually also he came up to me a couple of times. He was out. He came out. He recognized me different places. And he had jobs. He has this. And we used to speak a lot. I haven't seen him in a while, but I saw him different places. And he would always come up to me. So I say that to say is that you have no idea the impact. And sometimes you think that they're not listening. But this is the thing that they need. And we all need at times. You might not think that somebody's listening, but we still take it on, assume the responsibility. And so he got a lot of that class. And instead of thinking about where he was right then and that he was a bad boy, and I'll tell you another story before I get into my topic for the day, which is assuming responsibility, but I think it all, blends together. He, had a vision for himself instead of where he was right then. And that's what my whole thing is always like, if you're not a tree, so you can change. So he did well. And so one of the students that next day, they came up to me, or they mentioned in class. So I didn't think they were going to do the assignment. I just got them all journals and told them, like, start having a vision for your life, that you can make a change. And one of the students told me, I said, what did you get out of the exercise, right? The assignment. And one student told me that he realizes he's not a bad boy. He doesn't have to be a bad boy forever. Let that sink in, because it brought tears to my eyes when he told me. He's like, I don't have to be a bad boy forever. For what I did, I can change, I can improve. And that's what he realized from doing the exercise. Again, so it's our responsibility. And that was just, I had no idea what the impact was, but everybody's going to get something different. And you just play your part, take the responsibility. And again, I'm sorry to hear those that's in the community suffering, that's having these tragic losses of our young individuals' lives. And hopefully moving forward, we can be more involved. And it's not the government. I don't know. I didn't hear any talk shows. I haven't had really a chance to listen in about what's been happening, but or the responses to what's been happening. But it is all of us. It is not the government. And let me make a note of that, because I remember I want to say something about the government. I always talk about the government is us, right? All right, make a note. All right. So that's my thing about that part, right? So I'm going to transition into my topic, which is talking about assuming responsibility, not blaming, not the fault, but having the willingness to step forward and do what we can where we are with what we have. And we always have something that we can provide. All right. And before I get into that, I definitely wanted to mention, as I said something about St. Martin. I was at the Taste of St. Croix last week. It was a very well attended event. I enjoyed it. I saw a lot of people I hadn't seen in a while. Great food, great ambiance. I'm happy that they were able to be using the entire part of the V instead of just the parking lot. So I'm glad that expanded for this event, and I hope it continues. But I met a lady. I was sitting on a wall. There was, again, it spanned the whole of Divi, the Taste of St. Croix event last week, Thursday. And I was sitting on a wall, was tired. My feet were killing me. I had on heels. Yes, I had on heels. And I was like, oh gosh, I need to sit down for a bit. And then there were so many, different tasty drinks. So you had to like pace yourself. And I sat on the wall just to eat, and I was saying hi to everybody and was talking to different people that I saw. And this lady comes up to me. Well, she was sitting next to me for the longest time. I didn't know who she was, though. And she says, are you the lady that is on the radio on Wednesdays on 103.5? And she says, make it happen, right? And I says, yeah. But most people in the community, I know my voice, that listen to the show. And so she was like, yeah, I listened to the show, and I live in St. Martin. I was like, hold up. What did you just say? You're from St. Martin. She says, no. I'm from St. Martin, but I live in St. Martin. I said, you live in St. Martin? You listen to my show? And she's like, yeah, I listen to your show. It's every Wednesday. And make it happen. And she said, I know your voice. She said, I don't know the face, but when I heard your voice, I kept thinking that must be the lady. And so when you hear me say that, for anyone listening, wherever you are in the Caribbean, she just confirmed that is accurate. I have no idea who's listening, but I do appreciate it. And her name is Nivea. So Nivea, if you're listening out in St. Martin, if you have left the Virgin Islands and you're now back in St. Martin, thank you for saying hi, and thank you for tuning in, Nivea out of St. Martin. All right. It reminded me that sometimes we don't realize, I don't realize how far our work goes, our efforts, our consistency, wherever it travels. And we may not see the audiences, but we may not know who's listening, but people are paying attention. And I appreciate everyone that comes up and say hi. Other people came up to me and said hi. They either watch the TV show, they see the scholarship that I have right now that's happening. I'm still looking for individuals. So please go tell your children, Make It Happen Foundation.org. You can, there's scholarships still available. You're going into another school year, either if you're getting a trade. If they're getting a trade, they're in college right now. Doesn't matter what year they are, first year to the fourth year, whatever semester. Let them know there are scholarships available, minimum of $1,000. And also, and it doesn't have to be specific to tuition. We've helped with housing. We can help with books. just share with us the need and we will assist. But people came up and say, hey, I watched the show. I let my niece know. Hopefully they, they were telling me that hopefully that they will submit an application. Other individuals said they watched the show, or another person. Many people came up. So just thank you to everyone. You know what that does for me? That just helps me to continue. Because sometimes I do wonder, is anyone listening? Is anyone watching? Does it even matter? And so when you do come up and you share your thoughts and your experiences, and I mean, people in St. Thomas have told me they started businesses from watching my show. And others who haven't come up to me, but I have inspired you. I'm happy that has happened. But when you do let me know, it helps me to continue. So I do appreciate everyone that does say hi. It's never an imposition or inconvenience or disruptive to me. It's always welcome. And I'm always happy to meet people. All right. And so getting into now, let's see, did I cover? Oh, one more thing. Then also, I had someone, this has happened a couple times. Someone this week, and then about probably a year ago, an individual saw me at the gas station. And he was like, oh, I watch your show, but I get that often. So I was like, oh, great. I'm happy that you watch the show. But he says, yeah, I watched the show, but I was in jail watching your show. And everybody in jail watches your show. I was like, what? I was unexpected. Yeah, he's like, at the prison here. I forget the proper word to say. But he says, yeah, we watched the show. And he's like, it inspired me. And he started a job. He started a business. And we had exchanged information. I'm not sure what happened, but I didn't get to stay in communication. But I was very happy that he was out. I commended him. And he says they watched the show this week. I was made aware that they were watching my show, watching the show this week. So I don't think they can listen to the radio. I'm not sure, but they do watch the show in the prison here in St. Croix. I do appreciate them for watching. And I've said that if they do something positive, it will be my pleasure to, once they come out, it will be my pleasure to highlight them on the show. All right. And that they can. So that was a great experience back then. I don't know if I ever shared it with anyone on the radio, but that happened a year ago. One of them came out, told me they used to watch the show and inspire them, and whichever shows they saw, they started a business. And my thing is like this, yeah, you never counted out those that's incarcerated. And if you can't find a job, make a job. I know somebody that actually, I've been trying to do a show with him for a while. He actually came out of jail, couldn't find a job, and he started a very successful business that's still around for many years. So over a decade now. So yeah, you can always make it happen. So coming now into, so those are the comments I wanted to make. Lastly, my event happening, Tea for Tuition, that's going to be happening August 22nd and 23rd. Make sure to attend the event August 22nd and 23rd at the Carambola Golf Course. Saturday, August 22nd is going to be at the Carambola Golf Club. It's a cocktail party. And that's going to start from 6 to like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So I had that event because, I want everybody to be involved, feel like that they can participate in the community. It's going to be $75. You're going to have a drink ticket, and you're going to have hors d'oeuvres. It's going to be a really, really good setup, even better setup than last week. My mom keeps calling me. She forgets I'm on the radio today. And then the 23rd is going to be a Sunday. Just a minute. Let me text her. This is real life. I'm on the radio. So yeah. And so on the Sunday, we're going to have golfing. Women, men, we encourage you to come. We had like 14 teams of 4 last time. I hope to get 20 teams of 4. And you can be a pro or amateur. It is for everyone to participate, and the benefit is going to go towards, all proceeds are going to go towards, the scholarships that we are providing to students that's pursuing a trade or they're in college. All right. And so you can go to makeithappenfoundation.org and find more information about it. You can even see all the information and videos and pictures from last year's events. Just go to makeithappenfoundation.org and you'll look at, click on events. You'll see 2025. That's last year's events. If you want to take a look at what happened. And then 2026, you'll take a look and see that there as well. Now, where is my slide for my sponsors? Okay, here it is. Hold on. I need the slide up for the sponsors. All right, great. All right, so our sponsors for this year, we appreciate all those from last year. Our sponsors for 2026 event. So far, we have the VI Virgin Islands Lottery. We have, let's see, yeah, a platinum sponsor, VI Lottery. Thank you very much. We have Bates Trucking, who is a silver, as well as West Indian Company, Cane Bay Partners, and Indutech VI. They are our silver sponsors. We have our bronze sponsor of Imaging Center, St. Croix, and other sponsors who are supporting us are Starlight Lounge and The Reef. So we appreciate all those so far, and we look forward to welcoming more sponsors to help us this year. All right, so I'm seeing some comments online that I did not notice. So we have comments saying, good morning, Nykole, Tragedies as well. And then someone says, in regards to what I was mentioning about the students, we need some serious prayers and cleansing in the islands. And also it says that, let's see, sometimes bad behavior is a cry for attention. I do agree. I have a caller. You're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, Nykole.
Good morning.
Nykole, I want to start off by thanking your mom. She's listening to you on the radio now. Thank her for such a beautiful child.
Oh, thank you.
Every time I see your grandmother, I thank her. That's your paternal grandmother.
Thank you.
I know your paternal grandfather. He was a great person. I know your aunties were in school together.
Oh, wow.
But I want to thank you for the time that you took for those children that are incarcerated. You know, because there's the one thing more important than time is who you spend it with, Nykole.
Mm.
And the fact that you chose those children at the rehabilitation center. Now, when you use the word rehabilitation center in the prison, I am hoping that that's what's actually happening with our youths.
Mm.
Nykole, I taught for 28 years, and I had a behavior modification program. It was on Saturdays.
Nice.
It was almost like an in-house suspension.
Mm-hmm.
And I encourage the principal all the time, with support of the parents, don't suspend these children. Bring them in on Saturday. You know, I got them to, round table discussion with members of the community. They got to give back some time to the school and working on projects. And Nykole, in 28 years, I could recall one problem that I had with one parent. In 28 years, Nykole.
Mm.
So I know that I had a great impact, and the time that I spent, it was worthwhile, Nykole.
Awesome.
So I'm thanking you because you're providing opportunities, you're providing support, financial support at that, for a lot of our children. I know you provided support for children to get textbooks at UVI, even though
Mm-hmm.
some of them had the free tuition, they were responsible for books and stuff like that. So I know that your support is far-reaching, and I just continue to pray to God that, you continue to stay healthy and strong. I mean, the guy talked to you about, how much they listen to you while they're incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really uplifting to some of them because they made something of themselves, and I'm sure they started prior to coming out,
Right.
So they didn't have to wait until they come out. But, Nykole, this program is so important. Your effort is so worthwhile, and, we could only ask for more. I know you continue to say we are the government and it's not about the government, but Nykole, quickly,
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to start building academies here. The regular structure that we have in school is not working with a lot of our children, Nykole.
I agree.
We need to build academies. Whatever academy our children, it depends on their interest, right? We could have sports academy, we could have career technical academies, we could have science academies, we could have math academies, we could have educational academies. we could actually build what we need, create what we need, Nykole. The future leaders that we need, we could actually help create them. And inside of each of these academies, provide the academics that they need along with their interests, And your focus will be on their interests, yes, but they will be getting all the academics that they need to support them going forward. I'm really, I've been saying this here for years. It seems to be falling on deaf ear, but that's why I had to make, the sacrifice and give up my Saturdays, Nykole. And a lot of parents appreciated it. I'm hoping to actually get back to education and get back there, maybe do a couple more years.
Nice.
Because, Nykole, a lot of children, I thought there are no men and women having families of their own. And my reward is when they thank me, Nykole. That is the biggest reward for me, to see them remembering, what I put them through. And Nykole, I gave them tough love too,
Of course, but that's what's needed. You have to.
Love, Nykole.
Yeah.
And that's what we need going forward. Working in having programs where we could work with our children's strength. We could work where they're interested. I know that at Complex, a lot of the career and technical programs that we had there, once an instructor retires, Nykole, the program goes by the side. And this is the last thing that we need, because we're importing a lot of tradespeople, Nykole.
Yeah.
And we could actually build them from within. Nykole, we know what we need, right? We know the positions that need to be filled. We know the services that are needed. So we can track our students, Nykole. We can track them. We can really build those future leaders that we need, Nykole. So again, I'm looking forward to supporting your efforts coming up in August. And I pray God continue to keep you healthy and strong. Nykole, you are reaching people in the four corners of the earth, St. Martin. God knows who else listens to you around the world, So thanks to this radio station too, because the owners of this radio station have invested in this community and they put their money where their mouth at, and that's where it starts. But with people like you, Nykole, the sky's the limit for us. So God bless you. Thank you for this time. I just wanted to share that testimony because, I know that we have a lot of people. I mean, not just me alone. A lot of people have made these sacrifices and worked on the same Saturday behavior modification program to help our students. So we need to put time into them. But again, the one thing most important besides time is who we spend it with, and our children need our time. Nykole, God bless you. Okay,
but before you go,
and big up to your grandmother and your mother and your whole family.
Thank you, Nykole, so much.
You do represent them well.
Oh, thank
God
you.
Bless you,
Don't go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I want to make sure to get your contact because I want to learn more about this behavior modification course, and let's reignite it, right?
Yes.
I like to be behind that, and so I'm gonna see if I could get your number offline. Just hold on a second.
I'll hold on for you.
Okay, great. I need to take a break anyway. So yes, we're gonna take a break. Before we do that, no, actually not. There's nothing before that. So yeah, we'll be back after this short break. All right, hold on. Okay, welcome back to I Make It Happen with Exception Years, Nykole Tyson. Yes, thank you to the caller. Previous caller, I always say, I appreciate all the calls and the acknowledgement, because it does sometimes be like, oh, there's people listening, is it making an impact? And so it just reminds me, okay, let's make it happen, Nykole, like the brand says. Okay, so I do appreciate it very much. I look forward to working on some endeavors regards to behavioral modification with the caller. So thank you so much. And I realize he knows a lot of people in my family. So I will definitely let them know you said hi. And so, as mentioned, I wanted to talk about responsibility. Let's see. And let's get through this real quick. So the way I came up with this topic for today is it came out of playing tennis. So I'm learning tennis. Like I'm learning golf, tennis, doing all these things. I'm staying, as active as I can. I work out regularly every week. I have a workout group. I've been going to the beach a lot more. just enjoying our island. We don't enjoy our island, I don't believe. I don't think anybody really enjoys where they live as much. It's only when you say you're going on a vacation, but we are on a vacation every single day. This is our island life, right? And so I know when I first came home, I used to always be at the beach. I was always active. I was always doing things. But then when you get busy, you just get in a routine. You kind of get away from that. So I've reignited that in myself. So been learning tennis. And in tennis, I learned a lesson, which I always do this for myself, but I was on a winning team and we were having a winning streak. And the reason why we had a winning streak is because my team was taking responsibility. In tennis, like in life, the point doesn't care whose ball it is. The score only reflects where the ball got returned. All right. And I feel like that's similar to life. So examples of this: the customer doesn't care whose department made a mistake. The client doesn't care whose fault it is. The bills don't care who was supposed to pay them. The opportunity doesn't wait while we debate. See, I just rhymed. The opportunity doesn't wait while we debate responsibility. Okay. So the scoreboard only recognizes results, not excuses. And this is what we need to look at in our community. So if you can leave with anything I speak on today, that the ball is in your court, what are you going to do about it? Not about it was that person's job. Is that person supposed to do it? What can you do? And I always talk about it, making it happen. And I will always say that way. It is my job. It's my responsibility. No matter if somebody throw that garbage on the ground, if in my neighborhood, and it's in my area, it's gonna get picked up. But I want to say kudos to my neighborhood. It seems like people might be listening to the show because it's been a really good job. It's been very neat. So whoever's been picking up the garbage when they see it, thank you so much. In my area, I want to commend any other areas. If you want to let me know in your community and you are taking responsibility of the garbage in your area, in your community, then I will definitely shout out, whichever area. So you take a look, take a picture of how it looked before, take a picture of after. I will even give you guys free t-shirts by making it happen. I want to encourage us to make it happen. No more excuses. Let's see. So what happened during my tennis lessons? I noticed something interesting, as I mentioned. My team, I'm going to have to big up my team, that won every single time we weren't necessarily the best or the talented team. And that's the most things in life. Like they said, like the C students, the A students work for, right? The team that wins isn't the team that is always the most talented. It is the one that assumes responsibility for the ball. And the ball is figurative. It's an illustration. Okay. So the ball is in your life. What is the life? What is the ball in your life? And we're going to get into that in a minute. If there was any doubt, no matter if the ball went in the middle of the line for my team, somebody was getting the ball. It even was so much so that my teammate, we both hit the ball. Our rackets hit the ball at the same time. Our rackets clamped and we hit that ball together. All right. I wish I was taking a recording and the ball went over. We won the point. But we didn't assume she was going to get it because it was in the middle of the line. She didn't assume I was going to get it because it was in the middle. I was like, look, I'm going for the ball. And she was like, I'm going for the ball. We both went for the ball and we both hit that. Our rackets hit like that. And that ball went over and we're like, what? And so the losing teams actually, so we stepped up. So if there was any doubt, someone still stepped up. The losing teams now spent more time saying, that was your ball. Oh, that was on their side. And so what we found out was like, look, let's just keep driving this ball down the middle because hopefully none of my teammates, none of the other opponents are listening to this show. Cause that was our strategies. Like they're not taking responsibility. I told her, I said the reason why we win is because we assume responsibility every single time. And so we kept driving the ball in the middle and they kept missing it. And so how many opportunities, relationships, promotions, dreams do we lose because we're waiting for someone else to take responsibility? And that's my conversation for today because it was just like so impactful to me. I was like, wow, that's what really that's why we kept winning. And just go, not being afraid to hit the ball, even if you think you're going to miss, just going for it. All right. So the most successful people often assume responsibility, even when something isn't entirely their fault. It's not because they're guilty, but because they don't mind taking control. All right. So what part of your life, I'm going to leave you with this today to think about. What part of your life are you waiting for someone else to fix? Your finances? Examples are maybe your finances, your health, your career, your business, your relationships. Sometimes you might say, yeah, this person did this to me, and that's the reason why I'm such and such. Oh, a family member did this, and that's why I didn't get this way. No. If you're not a tree, you can change. And yeah, people do things and bad things happen. Um, and we have to get up and continue to move forward. As long as you have breath in your life, breath in your lungs, yeah, breath in your lungs, and you have life, you have strength, then you have the opportunity to move forward. And yes, those things happen. It had an impact. But now what are you going to do about it? The ball is still in your court. All right. So we all have the moment that we can say, I'll take responsibility for improving this. And as I always mention, the reason why I always say, look, it's not the government, it's us, is because it makes you lose your power. It makes me feel like, let me tell you, it makes me feel more powerful, and I have more power when I say I'm going to do this, regardless if it's somebody else's job, regardless if somebody else did something that impacted me. What can I do? Because then you feel like you could just feel depressed and you just don't have any power. But what do you have power over? That's how you regain your power, by taking responsibility. And if we all do that in the community, I feel like we would see a lot more improvements. All right. And as I get to that part, before I lose it, unpopular opinion might be that we have what? A governor, we have a lieutenant governor. We are looking to have new ones coming up this election, right? Now we have 15 senators, and then we have appointed commissioners, and then we have thousands of employees. Who takes responsibility? All right. What I hear a lot of times on the radio, we want the responsibility of the governor, the lieutenant governor, the 15 senators, and however many commissioners. How many people is that? 40 people? I don't know. 15 and 2, 17. And then how many commissioners? I have no idea. So say we have about 40 people in top positions in the territory, give or take. What happens to the thousands of people that's in these departments? As you always hear me say, and I'll continue to say, the government is the biggest employer. Who are we expecting accountability and responsibility from? I hope moving forward that the thought process changes. Now, mind you, the elected officials, yes, we expect a lot from them. And then the department heads, we expect a lot from them. And we should expect a lot from our auntie, uncle, sister, cousin, friend that works in many of these other departments, because they hold the bag and the ball when it comes to moving things forward. Like I had Department of Planning and Natural Resources last week. Gregory Richards, Assistant Director Gregory Richards of Coastal Zone Management. He took the ball. He saw and took responsibility, and he saw that we could buy, we have open shores, the beach lines available, open, and people are buying them up. He didn't say, oh, that's not my business, that ain't my job, somebody else should do it. He says no. He brought it to attention of his commissioner, his director commissioner, and ultimately the audience of the governor, who then said, yes, that's a good idea. And they went and bought property for the Virgin Islands for St. Croix. That's a big deal. One person saw that, realized that, and brought the attention. That's taking responsibility. And everybody in the territory, in these government agencies, you have the opportunity. I think that's a huge opportunity to influence, have an impact in our community, and say, you did that. That is legacy. When you're able to say, I left that, I created that, I made that happen. Because of me, 20 years from now, people could go to that beach and they can go camping. They're going to have a house there because one person took action and made his voice known. And we all have that opportunity. You in a government department, you take responsibility. I hope to see that. I hope to hear more things like that. I will highlight it, and I will announce it, pronounce it, everything you want to announce it. I will do it, because that's what I'm talking about in terms of making it happen and taking responsibility. So that's one of them in the workplace. All right. So I talked about like in business, in that. Let's see. We talk about regaining power. Okay. So, I already went to the workplace without even trying in my notes. But there are two examples of employees. I already mentioned the number one employee that says, let me help solve the problem. We already talked about that person. But there's another employee that said, that's not my job. All right. So as I mentioned before in other shows, when somebody come home, ask them, what did you make happen today? Did you take responsibility? Did you move the VI forward? Did you move St. Croix forward? Did you move St. Thomas forward? Wherever you are listening to me in the Virgin Islands or wherever you are, you could, I live in the Virgin Islands, so I'm talking to my people here, but wherever you are, you can talk about that to anyone around you, right? What did you help solve today? Especially in the government. I'm tired of hearing people saying the governor, the senators, this and that. It's thousands of people in government not taking responsibility. We have a handful that are. Kudos to you. Those of you know you're making it happen. I'm not speaking to you who the shoe fit, to wear, how that you should be wearing it. Take that shoe off and put on the next shoe. Put on a bigger shoe. Get a new one. And you can change today. From moving forward, you take responsibility. From moving forward, you don't just go to get a check. You're going to make a difference. And that's the whole point of having a job in the government. And that's what I see when I travel. Most individuals in other islands, they take it very seriously, their roles of moving their islands forward. And so moving forward, I hope that we do that here in the US Virgin Islands. All right. So let's moving forward. Responsibility at home. Okay, so in the household, there are arguments that start. Who should have done what? You forgot to do this. That's your responsibility, right? All right, so we step forward. Sometimes you get tired, you keep doing it. But now if you keep doing it, then you can be the example and say, well, even though you didn't do such and such, I did. So those successful families often operate differently by just stepping in and not keeping score, but getting it done. Now, if you feel like is being an overburden, that people aren't stepping up and carrying their weight, that's another conversation. But don't let the ship sink if you have the ability to plug that hole. Don't just watch it be like, that wasn't my job, and then everybody sinks. All right. All right. So now responsibility on the road. Now, every day we see people in the traffic. We blaming other people for how they drive in. We blaming the government for this and that. But in terms of like traffic, for me, when I get behind somebody that's going so slow, I have to breathe and say, Nykole, it is your fault. Okay. You should have left earlier. And now you just have to suffer the consequence of not leaving earlier, because now a slowpoke is in front of you, or somebody that you think that can't drive. It's not their fault. It's your fault. It's my fault. That's what I say. It's my fault. I should have left earlier, and then I would not be in this predicament. So we got to look at sometimes saying, it's my fault. Really being introspective and seeing how we could have done better, even if it is somebody else's fault. I'm talking about driving. Like, yeah, behind, and just follow me because I know I'm talking fast right now. But if you're driving and somebody's slow, and say, well, it's my fault, because if I was not late, it wouldn't matter to me that person driving so slow and they can't drive. But I'm running late, and like, why am I running late? Because I didn't plan better, right? And so now I got to suffer that consequence and do better next time. So we need to be honest with ourselves where we could have done better. And then even if it is somebody else's fault, how could I have avoided this still? How could I have improved in this still? Because at the end of the day, the results are, what do you want? And that's how I try to function. All right. And so we may not be able to control traffic, but we can control our response to it. Next, let's see. So to wrap this up, we spend years saying the government should fix this. My boss should fix this. My spouse should fix this. My partner should do better. My parents should fix this. My employee should fix this. Meanwhile, the ball is hitting the ground and you're losing your points. All right. The opportunity passes. The relationship deteriorates. The dreams remain unfinished. The opportunities are just lost, and you can look at any other area. Now, what are we going to do today? We can say all of that. Now just pick up your ball and score the point. Pick that ball up. Don't let it pass you. Stop blaming somebody else and say, what can I do from here on out? Doesn't matter whose fault it is. In some cases. I'm not saying it's 100%, so don't hold. Nykole said it's nobody's fault. No. In a lot of cases, we still have some actions that we can take. That's all I'm saying. No, so things happen, and I'm very aware of that. I have my own experiences. I can write a book one day, believe that. And but at the end of the day, are you gonna just lay down there and just let life go by? Are you just not going to try? Or are you gonna take that ball, try to swing at it, and you miss? Try to hit the next ball, right? And you'll get better. And yeah, so it moves us into action, and then that just then you just get momentum as you continue. All right. So all this conversation all stemmed from tennis, and so I just said, I think I could share this with the community. You are on the air. Thanks for calling. Please turn on your radio.
Sorry. I love your energy.
Thank you.
Just do it. I think we spend so much time talking. Action speaks louder than words. And I'm proud to say that I took the chance again. I did it.
Oh, nice.
Once again, I'm a winner.
What'd you do?
For a taste of St. Croix.
Okay. Oh, your drink.
Yeah.
You won. Congratulations. I did. You had the mango.
Pineapple daiquiri.
Yeah. It was great. It was very smooth. Congratulations.
Well, I came number 2. That's good.
Awesome. You entered. So you're a winner for entering, and then you placed. So that's even better.
Yes, and that's what we all have to do. Don't be afraid to take a chance. Pursue your dreams. There's certain things beyond our control. But whatever you have control of, you just do it. Have belief in yourself, confidence that you can make it happen. Anything you put your mind to. And I know you're talking a little bit. I ain't getting into much in politics, but I just want to remind people we have a Republican form of government, and the ultimate or supreme power lies with the electorate, because through representative democracy, they elect our governors, senators, delegates to Congress, and members of the Board of Elections and the Board of Education. So I just urging everybody to be part of the process, be part of the solution, not part of the problem. So register to vote online if you haven't done so already. It's easy, less than 10 minutes. Go to vivote.gov. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your call, and congratulations again. All right. Something she said I wanted to piggyback on, but it is time. All good things must come to an end. All right. Hopefully I remember what to say. It's something she said I wanted to piggyback on, but yeah. Thank you for tuning in with me today on I'm Making It Happen. In tennis, as I mentioned, the teams that won weren't worried about whose ball it is. They simply made sure the ball didn't hit the ground. And life works the same way. Your dream doesn't care whose responsibility it is. Your health doesn't care. Well, your health does care whose responsibility it is. Or you might say your doctor, but you're ultimately responsible at the end of the day. Check your medication. Check up on, follow up on those kind of things. Your business doesn't care about whose responsibility it is. At the end of the day, it's just the results. You're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air. Are you on?
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me? You're on the air.
Good morning. I can hardly hear you. Yes, Nykole. Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, I could hardly. But anyway, I'm so glad that you talk about, in different jobs and stuff like that, making it happen, and not saying a lot of time in government, you're hearing that's not my job. I've been in a job the same way that I've heard that, I've been a clerk, started out as a clerk. And I remember a lot of clerks, that's not my job. That's a manager job. I'm not doing that, And this one super director told me, Robert, I said, well, I did this and I did the other, He said, I'm so glad that you did it because a lot of clerks say that's not their job. But, they have upward mobility. And when that position become available, you can move up because you already acted it, you do the job and you know the job and stuff like that. So a lot of times it helps, not just saying it's not my job, and because there's benefit. When you do the work, even though it's not your job, when the position comes up, you can always fill the position. I rose from clerk up to manager just because of those things, not saying that's not my job, and I did the manager job. So I was, know the job. So whenever position came available, you got the job. So You know, a lot of times it's how some people don't realize you just, you know, you learn a lot by just doing the job and not saying that's not my job. Take care, Nykole. God bless.
I agree. And
Doing
thanks.
a great job. Really appreciate listening to you.
Thank
every
you.
Wednesday. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your call. Yes, and I do agree because those people that get promoted, they become leaders, are able to get better opportunities because people might be watching you. You might be in that position right now, but somebody else is looking at you that's from a different department or heard about you. You might get a better position. Not even from that job, but just how you're behaving in that position. And then also you are able to be eligible for promotion. So you keep yourself stuck by just saying that's not my job. Because I think people are always watching. Even when I meeting people in like the Wendy's line or somebody's in customer service, when I ask them and they give such good service, and I ask them what are you in school? Or are you doing? They usually are doing something that's not just their job, that they have a future, that they have for themselves or a vision for themselves. They always operate higher than that position, and so you never know who's watching you. They could get you another position to say, "Hey, I have something that I think that would work for you." You know what I'm saying? Or that you now are eligible. You can say, I think I am qualified to take this on next role. But you can't do that if you're just always passing the buck, right? And so thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for the calls. And today's conversation was surrounding assuming responsibility. And we can always assume responsibility. All right. Thank you for joining me today on I'm Making It Happen. With exception, yours, Nykole Tyson. Have an amazing rest of the day and the week. We will connect again on next week, Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. If you want to see the show, you can go on Facebook, see I'm Making It Happen. You can go on YouTube. We'll post up the show again, the edited version on YouTube at I'm Making It Happen. You can find me on most social media platforms. If nobody has told you today, you can make it happen. All right. And if you don't see something happening, create it. Be the change. And until next time, keep thinking outside the box, coloring outside the lines. And remember, it's about you, me, we. So make it happen.